Hello and welcome to Motors for the Masses. And today we've got some rather sneaky news and some more new bikes that are on their way. So let's roll the intro and get cracking. So let's start off with that sneaky news, and I'm talking about this. Yes, the summer is here, the sun is out, and bikers are enjoying themselves on the road. But unfortunately, you're not going to be allowed to enjoy yourselves as much as you'd like, because the rozzers are getting sneaky. There's vans popping up that appear to be just normal vans. No insignia, or very little insignia that can't easily be seen, and certainly no big orange and yellow stripes splattered all over the back of them. Yes, as you can see here, we've got white vans, grey vans with no insignia on, silver vans that just appear to have perhaps a little picture of a camera, or this white van here, which is just a transit. Looks a bit like a camper van, to be fair, with this sort of AMPR equipment attached to the roof. But in the back, you've got the drop-down window and the sneaky little camera, wannabe rozzer inside, snapping you at the speed. And then you've got the likes of this. Yes, that is a rozzer sitting in the back of a horse box on a 2004 number plate on the back of a Land Rover, which what appears to be with a speed camera inside. Now that is the epitome of sneakiness, and that to me is just wrong. Now I know there's going to be people out there going, well, you shouldn't be speeding, and yes, I get it, you shouldn't be speeding. But they design motorbikes that do 60 miles an hour in first gear. Surely the manufacturers need to have some responsibility for this. And I know that just because the bike can do 180 miles an hour doesn't mean to say you have to do it. But if you want a motorbike that does 60 miles an hour on a 50 mile an hour road in first gear, surely some responsibility has to lay at the feet of the manufacturers. Now I know we've got the UK here, and that doesn't mean that the bikes are only made for the UK market, but you go around Europe and they've got the same sort of speed limits. It's only when you get to the likes of the German autobahn or certain strips of the French autoroute that they have these unrestricted speed limits. But this to me just seems unfair and sneaky and rather underhanded, don't you think? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I mean, to me, it's just sneak tactics that are targeting the most compliant, because anything slightly more than that is just a bit too difficult to deal with, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not assuming or speculating. Just, thoughts, please. So now we've also got this. This is the new MotoMorini coming, the Escape 700. Now this, I'm not too sure what to think about it. They've got the Escape 650, it's been out for a while now, the parallel twin engine, which is a good engine. CF Moto based engine, lovely, rides great, love the bike. You've got some fantastic equipment on there, decently priced. And then you've got this. It's gone from a 649cc to a 693, I believe, cc. Now, I understand that you're getting extra power, you're getting 10 more horsepower and 10 more pounds-foot of torque. But it just seems as though, why would you go from a 650 to a 700? Keep the 650, concentrate on an 850 maybe. I don't know. Again, your thoughts would be ideal to know. Now, we have got the Escape 1200 coming, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. They've talked about it for a while, and it still hasn't arrived yet. But this 700 will be hitting showrooms in June. And as I say, you've got 69 brake horsepower, up from 59 on the 650. And you've got 50 pounds-foot of torque, up from 40 pounds-foot of torque on the 650. So there is a bit of an increase. You've still got some very good quality equipment. You've got Marzocchi forks on there. It is 213 kilos dry. So let's say that's going to be, what, 230 kilos by the time it's on the road with the fluids in. 18 litre fuel tank, adjustable seat height from 820 millimeters all the way up to 845 millimeters. KYB rear monoshock, to match with the Marzocchi front forks, so decent quality again. 19-inch wheel front, 17-inch wheel back, and you've got Pirelli Scorpion STR rubber on there as well as adjustable handlebars for 3 different positions. That'll be interesting. 3 colour schemes, so you've got red, white or black, and the black version will come with the spoked wheels like the others, but also with the cast wheels as well. And the price is said to be £7,500. That's not a bad price for a 700cc, especially when you consider the likes of the Yamaha Tenere and the Suzuki V-Stroms around 10 to 10.5 grand. So that, I think, is what they're aiming towards, that sort of market. Kawasaki's Versas as well. So I think this will be a great bike. I love the 650. Fantastic, that MotoMorini Escape 650. Awesome bike. Again, I've done lots of reviews on this, and I've got all them in my playlists, and I shall link them in the description below, so have a look at those whenever you can. And I really think this is a good leap, but I just wonder, is it enough of a leap from a 650 to a 700? All that development and the change in the body design as well. It does look good. It does look good on paper with an extra 10 horsepower, an extra 10 pounds-foot of torque. But I just wonder whether they should have left the 650 as it was, gone up to an 800. I don't know. Again, let me know your thoughts. It's still a good-looking bike, and I really think that will be great to ride. Can't wait to get my hands on that and see what it's like. But I am also unbelievably keen to check out that 1200, which I believe is a V-twin. And we've got a new bike that's also coming through Motomondo, who does MotoMorini, which is rather interesting. They're also doing QJ Motor, just not in the UK. Don't know who's going to be doing that in the UK. Possibly through MotoGP, don't know. But I'm talking about this, the ultraviolet F77 Mach 2. Sounds like an aeroplane, doesn't it? Sounds like an American jet fighter. But it's not. It's an electric motorbike. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it looks like a superbike with sort of naked street bike handlebars. However, it's designed for either an A1 market or an A2 market, and that is, you can ride it on a CBT. However, it's 8.5 grand. Still with the electric bikes and their high prices, and that's an introductory offer. So once that's finished, it'll go up to £9,500. Now, it kind of makes you wonder, if they can afford to sell the bike at 8.5 grand, why do they need to put it up to 9.5 grand? I don't know, the idea is to try and get people to buzz around it at 8.5 grand and go, I better get it now before it goes up. But then you've got people that are saying, do I want to spend £8,500 on a 125 style bike? That's pretty much what it is if it's on an A1 license. And for 9.5 grand, you can get a lot of petrol bike that does a lot of speed. And it's about, what, 4 grand more than the likes of a 125 Yamaha YZF or something like that, or a KTM Duke, or the Suzuki GSXR, that sort of thing. And then, probably 5 grand more than a decent Chinese bike, or even a Lex Moto LXR 125. So that's a lot of money to spend. But let's have a look at some of the specs. So the motor that's got 38 brake horsepower and 74 pounds-foot of torque. That means the top speed is around 86 miles an hour. Now, obviously, it depends how they deliver that 38 horsepower and how they determine the continuous speed of the motor, or the continuous power of the motor, as to whether they can get it within that CBT license bracket. But if they can, that means this ultraviolet is going to be a phenomenal 125. Just expensive, isn't it? But it does look awesome. It's got a 10.3 kilowatt hour battery pack, which means you should get around 140 miles of range. On paper, of course. And they're saying it's got AI-powered real-time diagnostics, motion alerts, okay, little lights that pop up, I guess, if something comes close to it, and crash detection. You're about to crash! Too late! Yeah, something. I mean, yes, if they can get this power loophole to work so you can ride it on a CBT, that is going to be a powerful 125 alternative to any 125, and it will be quicker, it'll be faster top end, although the speed limit is 70. So I've heard. No, it is, and I only ever do 70 in a 70, I might add. But it's £8,500 for the first few months, and then it'll go up to £9,500. That's a lot of money. They're not learning from it, are they? People are not going to buy it if it's £9,500 for a 125. I don't care if it looks good. I don't care if it's quick. If it's aimed at the 125 market, or the A2 license market even as well, and it's that price, people are rather going to buy a 600cc bike that's quicker top end, and can continue it and not have range anxiety. I don't know. You know, maybe the Kawasaki Hybrid 7 is a better alternative at that sort of price. I don't know. Again, let me know in the comment section below what you think. And if you've passed your test already, you'd rather be on something like the new 1000cc Hornet, I'm sure, or the likes. CF Moto 800 NK. I don't know. So many other bikes you can have rather than a quick, fast, expensive electric bike, which, let's be honest, there's plenty of those about already. So looking at some of these specs, 10 levels of regenerative braking, which is great. But how does that work? 10 levels of it. It's got ABS, which is great. Stability control, which is fine. Yeah, okay. Charging, it can go from 20% to 80% charge in 2.5 hours, up to 75 kilometers, which is about 40 miles of range per hour of charge. Remote control, of course, as I say, anti-collision warning, movement, fall or towing alerts, right? So if it's stolen, it bleeps at you, but it does come with a 5-year warranty, or 100,000 kilometers, which is about 60 odd thousand miles, nearly 65,000 miles, which, okay, is great. Still a lot of money, isn't it? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of this? And that's all I've got for this episode. Thanks for watching. I'll be back very soon. I'm just waiting for MotoGB and Moonrakers to put together those 3 bikes that I want to test from Vosges. The 525, the 625 and the 650. They had a 625 come in. They've sold that. Then they had another one, which is a showroom bike, so I can't use that one. So they're just waiting for something to come in that I can ride. There's no point in me doing a comparison video if I can only ride 2 of them, because it's the 625 I want to compare it to. So just waiting for that, and then I can do a comparison video on those 3, and I've got other stuff coming as well, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. Click the notification bell for more uploads, and have a look in the description for links to playlists that might interest you. And that's all I've got. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to enjoy the weather, because it's still sunny. I know. And I'll see you very soon. So until next time, please ride and drive carefully, but have fun. Bye-bye.